The hall was filled with laughter. Loud, cruel laughter. The Zarkith Council, the most powerful alien leaders in the galaxy, sat on golden thrones, watching a giant screen in front of them. On the screen was Earth, a small blue planet spinning, quietly near an average sun. Nothing special. A purple-skinned counselor waved his 3 fingers in the air. "Is this really the species they're calling dangerous now?" he asked, laughing harder. "Look at them. They still burn fossil fuels." Another alien with green scales and a long neck joined in. Their own planet is falling apart. They kill each other over food and dirt. They've only been in space for, 200 years? "They're not even united," said a third counselor. "No central government, no starships. They are still learning how to survive on their own world." The laughter grew louder. Echoes bounced off the high walls of the council chamber. Some banged their fists on the table. Others wiped tears from their many-eyed dot at the edge of the room, near the shadows. A quiet man stood still. He looked human. He was tall, with a pale face and dark eyes that did not blink. He wore no symbols, no medals, nothing that showed power. Just a gray cloak and a black ring on his finger dot. No one noticed him. No one ever did. The council's leader, High Speaker Thross, stood and raised his claw. "Let us end this vote," he said. "Earth is weak. Earth is small. Earth is not a threat. Let the motion pass that Earth shall be left unguarded. No observation fleets, no defensive shields. Let them evolve if they can." He paused, grinning with sharp yellow teeth. "Or let them destroy themselves. It makes no difference to us." All 20 counselors raised their hands. The vote passed. No one opposed it. There was no reason to. Earth was a joke, but the quiet man at the edge of the room slowly turned his wrist. On the underside of his arm was a small device. Old, dusty, human-made. He pressed one button. A signal left the chamber. Silent. Invisible. It shot through the stars, through empty black space, and toward a direction no one was watching. The man turned and walked out without a word. No one stopped him. Why would they? He was just human. Powerless. Forgotten. 3 weeks later, strange things began to happen. In the outer regions of the Kelzer Belt, a scout ship went missing. No distress signal. No damage. Just gone. A second scout was sent. It found nothing only. Empty space and one strange reading. A small object, cold and silent, floating alone. The object was brought aboard. It looked old. Rusted metal. Human design. Maybe an old satellite. But when the crew scanned it, it turned on by itself. No sound. No light. Just one signal beamed into deep space. The ship tried to block it. Failed. Then the object exploded cleanly. With no fire, no radiation. Just gone. The crew vanished 5 hours later. The galaxy still did not care. A week after that, something massive moved under the moon's surface. A deep space telescope from the Tren Alliance caught the first image. A shadow shifted on the dark side of Earth's moon. It wasn't an impact. It wasn't natural. The crater moved. And then it was gone. The image was sent to Zarkith Council. They ignored it. "Probably moon dust," said one counselor. "Or human mining." "They can't even leave orbit," said another. "Why are we wasting our time?" Then Earth went silent. No signals. No broadcasts. No internet traffic. No news. No military radar. Earth simply disappeared. The galactic media laughed again. Did they kill themselves? Some asked. Maybe. A war, others joked. But something else was happening. Below Earth's surface, deep in the ground, old machines woke up. Buried long ago. Under oceans, deserts, mountains, machines humans had built in secret began to activate. They had been waiting for the signal. waiting for the moment Earth would be forgotten. Now it had come. An old human I named a EG ice came online. It spread itself instantly across satellite ghosts and dead systems. It whispered across the oceans, Protocol Titan reborn, active. And in the sands of the Sahara, the ground began to shake. A caravan of merchants crossing the desert stopped when the earth rumbled. Camels screamed. Sand shifted like water. Then, with a deep metallic groan, something giant rose from the dunes. It was black, covered in ancient armor, towering like a mountain. A warship, but it didn't fly. It crawled. It moved slowly toward the horizon, like it had all the time in the world. In Antarctica, a research station reported glowing lights beneath the ice. Then nothing more. When a rescue team arrived, they found a crater. The ice was melted, gone, and in the middle stood a hole perfectly round, leading deep underground. A faint hum echoed upward. Across the solar system, Earth's old satellites blinked. Dead ones came alive. Old military codes reactivated. Some satellites moved on their own, forming tight formations. Then they vanished from radar. And still, no word from Earth. That was when the Zarketh Council finally called a meeting. This time, they were not laughing. Something is wrong, said High Speaker Thross. They're quiet. Too quiet, said the green-scaled one. The scout ships sent to orbit never reported back, said another. Thross turned to the room. We voted to leave Earth alone. Perhaps they discovered something. A weapon. A new energy. He paused, rubbing his claws together. Or perhaps they were never as weak as we believed. Someone in the shadows spoke. They waited. All heads turned. The human man was there again. Same cloak. Same cold eyes. No one had noticed him enter. They waited for you to forget them, he said. Thross narrowed his eyes. You dare speak without permission? The human stepped forward. I do more than speak, he said. I came to watch. Watch what? The human looked upward. The ceiling of the chamber began to glow. A strange light, flickering, moving. The entire ceiling became a live feed. Not from a ship. Not from any alien source. It was Earth. But Earth wasn't dark anymore. Dozens. No. Hundreds of lights blinked in orbit. Ships. Huge ones. Not like anything the aliens had seen before. A voice came through the air. Calm. Mechanical. Human. This is Fleet Command Omega, transmitting from low Earth orbit. We are awake. We are armed, and we are not alone. The chamber froze. One alien whispered, They've built a fleet. Another said, That's impossible. They had no technology, the human smiled. You looked down on us. You laughed at us. You thought we were too broken to rise. He held up his hand. The black ring on his finger glowed red. And now, you will see what Earth becomes when it stops trying to impress anyone. Far above the chamber, in the deep of space, a change began. Near the edge of the Sol system, unknown warp gates opened. Blue lightning split the stars. Massive ships came through human ships, shaped like daggers, armored like cities. Silent, dark, cold, and ready. The first fleet was named Retribution. The second was Forgiveness Denied, and the third had no name. Just a red mark on its hull, a laughing skull. Across the galaxy, alarms went off. On trade routes, unknown ships intercepted cargo vessels. On colony worlds, strange messages played on every screen. We are from Earth. Do not test our silence. Zarketh Council tried to send peace messages. No answer. They tried to threaten. No reply. They tried to send war fleets. None returned. In less than 30 days, 7 alien outposts near Earth vanished. No explosions. No wreckage. Just ... gone ... now. Earth did not speak. Earth did not boast. Earth only moved. A new war had begun, and no one knew what humans wanted. They only knew this. Earth had been underestimated, and someone, somewhere, had made a very big mistake. Because humans weren't laughing. They were listening, and now they were answering. The stars above Neptune flickered, though there was no reason they should. The space around the gas giant had always been quiet, cold, empty. That's why the Tren Alliance had placed one of their early warning satellites there. No interference. No gravity wells. No humans. But tonight, something blinked. One of the satellite sensors picked up movement. Then it stopped. Then again. Then. Nothing. The system flagged the anomaly and tried to contact headquarters. No answer. It wasn't because the transmission failed. It wasn't because of interference. It was because the headquarters itself had gone offline 3 minutes earlier. Power loss, data corruption, total blackout. No one in the Tren Alliance knew that the moment the satellite detected movement near Neptune, Earth had already acted. Inside a black control room deep beneath Alaska, old screens came to life. Dust fell from the ceiling. A machine hummed after decades of silence. Wires sparked. Lights blinked red. A voice spoke softly. Female. Calm. Mechanical. Observation node Gamma 12. Compromised. Initiating sweep protocol. 10,000 miles away, under the frozen floor of Greenland, a large metallic door opened inside a glacier. Behind it, a long black shape stretched into the darkness. A RAILOGUN. Shot. One flash of energy. In seconds. The Tren satellite near Neptune was gone, vaporized before it could send another message. A second satellite went dark moments later. Then a third. And yet the galaxy did not notice. For them, Earth was still silent. The galactic news feeds had moved on. There were wars between merchant guilds in the Telleran sector. A new species had been discovered near the Hollow Worlds. Pirates were causing trouble near the Veil trade routes, Earth. Forgotten again. But something had changed. In fact, many things had changed. An asteroid that had been drifting near Jupiter's moons for 20 years began to hum. Its surface broke apart, revealing engines underneath. It wasn't a rock. It was a ship. Old, massive, and human. The ship activated quietly. It didn't broadcast. It didn't light up. It simply moved into position above Europa, as if waiting for something. On Mars, an old mining station deep underground received a signal. Not from Earth's surface, but from below it. The station's eye had been dormant for 80 years. When the signal arrived, it turned on and unlocked a chamber buried even deeper. Inside the chamber were 4 objects. They were black, smooth, covered in white. Symbols no one remembered. They were Earth's first true AI war drones. Prototypes. Abandoned after the Mars Rebellion. No. They were awake. The drones didn't speak. They simply left the facility and began scanning the Martian sky. And they found something. A Tren surveillance pod, hovering in low orbit, had been watching Mars for years. Now it became prey. One drone launched upward. It didn't fly like a ship. It jumped, blinked, and appeared next to the pod in less than 2 seconds. There was no battle. Just silence. The pod was gone, and the drones returned to their hiding place, deeper than before. Back in the galactic core, the Zarkith Council finally started asking questions. The satellites near Earth space are failing. Our scouts can't get close to Mars. Even our stealth probes are vanishing. Still, most of the Council laughed it off. Malfunction, solar interference, human clumsiness. Only one voice sounded worried. It came from Counselor Virik of the Corvithi species. His people had once warred with the humans long ago, before the Treaty of Isolation. They remembered things the others had forgotten. They're not clumsy, Virex said. They're cleaning their sky. High Speaker Thros waved a claw. Nonsense. They're probably building another useless space station. We'll send a scout fleet in 2 cycles to confirm. But Virex shook his head. Don't send scouts, he said. Send a diplomat. Send someone they know. A hush fell over the chamber, and then slowly, all heads turned to the human in the gray cloak. He had returned again, standing in the same corner, still unnoticed until now. Thros scowled. You've been appearing. Without permission. The human didn't blink. You gave me permission 80 years ago. I never left. What are you? Thros asked. Some kind of observer? The human nodded. I'm from Earth. That's all you need to know. Then tell us, Thros demanded. What is Earth doing? The human's voice was quiet. Cold, preparing. For what? The human stepped closer. For you to stop laughing. 3 days later, the council ignored the warning and sent a scout ship anyway. Small, fast, unarmed. The pilot was a nervous alien named Klen. Young and eager to impress, he entered Earth's outer system. For a few hours, nothing happened. He passed Pluto. Silent. He passed Neptune. Still no response. He entered the zone near Uranus, and that's when he saw it. A structure, huge, orbiting. One of Uranus's moons. At first, he thought it was an asteroid. Then it moved. He zoomed in. What he saw made his blood freeze. It was a ship, but not like anything in the records. It had no visible weapons, no engines, no lights. Just lines. Clean, dark lines, almost beautiful in design. And he noticed the others. 3 more ships, motionless in space, surrounding the first one. They didn't aim at him. They didn't chase. They just stared. Klen panicked. He turned his ship around, tried to leave, but every system failed. Power, engines, comms, everything dead. Message appeared on his screen. You were warned. Then he vanished from every galactic tracking system. Gone. The council still denied what was happening. They released public statements. No threat detected. Scout likely suffered a navigation failure. Human silence is a sign of peace. But in the deep places of the galaxy, others began to whisper. Pirates near Saturn vanished. Smugglers trying to enter Earth's orbit were never heard from. Again, a small mining colony on one of Jupiter's moons went dark. And always no sign of battle. No debris. No radiation. Just back on Earth. Underground bunkers lit up. Cities beneath the surface of the planet long hidden began to glow. Old humans emerged, wearing armor made of materials the galaxy had never seen. They did not speak to the stars. They only spoke to each other. Phase 2 is ready. And behind Earth's moon, something moved. It had no name, no number. It had never been seen by anyone outside of Earth. It was too big to be called a ship. It was a fortress, a star killer. The last creation of old humanity. Now it waited. Back. Inside the Zarketh council chamber, Counselor Virex stood in the shadows. He watched the other leaders argue, laugh, and mock Earth again. Then he turned and walked away. He no longer needed votes. No longer needed debates. He had seen what was coming. He knew silence was not weakness. It was strategy. Because the last time humans had gone quiet, they ended a war with fire. And now, once again, Earth was silent. And somewhere, behind the stars, the war, drums were beginning to beat. The wind blew across the Sahara Desert, hot and dry. Sand danced in the air, twisting around tall dunes that stretched for miles. There were no cities here, no roads. Just heat, silence, and endless dust. But beneath that silence, something waited. Buried. Deep under the sand, far below where any satellite could see, ancient doors began to unlock. They were old, older than the governments that had once ruled Earth, built in secret, forgotten even by most humans. Now they woke up in a small village near the edge of the desert. A young boy named Kareem chased a goat. He was barefoot, laughing. Unaware of what was beneath him, the ground shook suddenly. He stopped. The goat ran away. The villagers came out of their homes, confused. The earth rumbled again, louder. Birds flew off. The sand began to sink, like water down a drain, and then it opened. A giant metal door, once buried beneath 60 meters of sand, slowly split in half. A red light blinked from inside. The people stared, frozen. Then, with a deep mechanical growl, something began to rise. It wasn't fast. It didn't need to be. A massive shape, black and covered in ancient dust, pushed its way out of the earth. It was shaped like a mountain, but made of metal. Plates slid. Arms extended. Cannons unfolded from hidden panels. It was a ship. A human warship. No windows, no lights. Just pure, silent power. The villagers screamed and ran. No one stayed behind. The warship didn't react. It simply stood there, halfway out of the ground, like a beast stretching after a long sleep. And then it began to walk. Its steps were slow, but each one made the ground shake for miles. From above, Earth's remaining hidden satellites recorded the moment. But they didn't send the data to space. They sent it underground to command bunkers buried in old continents. One message was broadcast: TITA and 1 Walker class reactivated. The same thing happened in other places. In the Amazon rainforest, deep beneath the roots of ancient trees, metal arms pushed upward through the soil. A giant drone factory, covered in moss and vines, came to life. Drones flew out in swarms, each one cold and silent, scanning the skies. In Antarctica, a black slab of metal burst from beneath the ice. It looked like a tower, but when viewed from space, its shape was clear, a command beacon, connected to every human ship hidden across the solar system. In the Pacific Ocean, a volcano erupted not from magma, but from steel. A war platform rose from the sea, spraying steam and oil. It unfolded like a blooming flower. Missiles, railguns, shields. The galaxy still didn't know. They weren't watching anymore. But the pirates were. In the outer edges of Earth space, a small alien pirate fleet watched the sky from a hidden asteroid base. They had picked up strange signals from Earth, short bursts of encrypted data, invisible to most sensors. Their leader, Captain Dravik, licked his fangs. "Looks like Earth found a new toy," he said. "Let's take it before they know how to use it." They sent 3 raiders toward Earth, fast, armed, ready to loot anything they could. They didn't reach the planet. Near the asteroid belt, they vanished. Not destroyed, not damaged, just missing. Dravik waited. He checked his screens. No signals. No debris. Nothing. Then something strange happened. All the screens in his command center turned black. A red dot appeared on each one, and a message: "We see you." He ordered his crew to run. The ship engines screamed. They tried to activate warp, but it was too late. One by one, the pirate ships vanished from their own logs, their own memories. No trace, no record, as if they had never existed. And far away, deep under Earth, the human AIAEGIs watched with silent approval. The time was coming. On Mars, old human colonies were coming back to life. Facilities that had been shut down after the Earth-Mars wars now glowed with light. Massive forges heated up. Drones rebuilt hangars. Rail lines reconnected across the red desert. In one of the underground bunkers, a man walked alone. He was tall, old, wearing dark armor. His name was General Reyes. Once he had commanded Earth's space forces. Then the Treaty of Silence forced Him underground. Now, he was back. He stood before a wall-sized screen showing Earth's moon. "What's our status?" he asked. The AI voice answered. 73% of buried fleets recovered. Long-range weapons online. Cloaking systems at full strength. Fleet Orion preparing to launch. Reyes narrowed his eyes. "And the Council? They still believe we're quiet." Reyes gave a cold smile. "Good. On the moon, something huge moved. It was a station. At least, that's what it looked like. But the station had thrusters, armor plating, and magnetic field emitters. It was more than a station. It was a planetary weapon. Behind it, dozens of ships formed into neat lines. Sleek, black, deadly. Fleet Orion. Each ship bore no flag, no colors. Only one symbol, an old Earth sign, the warning triangle. These were ships designed in secret, during the last century, by Earth's most paranoid minds. Ships that could cloak in plain sight. Ships that could hide behind radiation shadows. Ships that could kill without firing a shot, by deleting enemy systems from the inside. Now, they were ready, and Earth had not sent a warning. It had sent a message. Silence. The galaxy had stopped watching. And Earth had started building. One Council race. The Trovans noticed something was wrong. Their scouts weren't returning. The quiet near Earth had gone from strange to frightening. They sent one of their elite warships to investigate. It arrived near Earth orbit. No resistance. They laughed. "Still asleep," said the Trovan captain. He brought the ship closer to the moon. That's when they saw it. Fleet Orion uncloaked. All at once. Hundreds of ships surrounded the Trovan vessel. Black and silent, like a wall in space. The Trovan crew panicked. Weapons online. Shields raised, but nothing happened. The human ships didn't fire. They didn't move. They just watched. The captain tried to speak. "This is Captain Relic of the Trovan Empire. We come in peace." His message was cut off, not by jamming, not by interference. The ship's computers shut down by themselves. A single sentence appeared on every screen. "We remember." Then, power was restored. The human ships were gone. All of them. Vanished. When the Trovan ship limped home, its captain reported the event. Most of the council ignored him, except one. Councillor Vierick demanded a meeting. "They're rising." He sighed. "Earth is no longer sleeping. They're testing us." Speaker Thross rolled his eyes. "One fleet, one trick. We can still crush them." Vierick shook his head. "That wasn't their fleet." Everyone went silent. "What do you mean?" Vierick's voice was low. "That was just one arm, one formation, one piece of their plan." He pointed to a map. "And that wasn't Earth's warning?" He leaned forward. "That was Earth's whisper." The chamber fell quiet. Across the stars, Earth systems blinked to life, one after another. Bunkers unlocked. Satellites activated. Command networks connected. And under the Sahara, the Titan Walker took another step. It would not stop. The dust rose again. And with it, the old power of Earth. The power that had waited. The power that was no longer hiding. Red dust blew across the Martian plains. The sky above was hazy orange, and the ground was still, cold, empty. A mining team from the Yenther Alliance moved across the surface in small vehicles, scanning for rare minerals. Mars had long been abandoned by humans, and the galaxy believed it was safe now. Forgotten. Just another dead rock. But something didn't feel right. The Yenther leader, Captain Dravik, looked around through his visor. His scanner picked up strange heat signatures underground. Deep, old. Could be leftover human tech, said one of his crew. Dravik frowned. Too hot, too large. They moved closer to the signal. Then the sand cracked, not from an explosion, Not from movement, it cracked like glass under pressure. Suddenly, the ground under one of the scout vehicles opened. A hole perfectly round swallowed. The machine in seconds. No sound, no dust. Just silence. The crew ran back, shouting. Dralvik tried to call the orbiting ship. No response. The radio was dead. The sky above them flickered. Mars' weak atmosphere glowed for a second. Then all light disappeared. Even the sun. Drolve. Kay looked up in fear. Why is it dark? It was still daytime, but everything had turned black. Like something massive had covered the planet. In orbit, the Yentha ship struggled. Commander, something is blocking our power. The captain stared at the screen. A massive object hovered above them. It wasn't firing. It wasn't moving. It simply existed. A ship so large, it looked like part of space itself. A human dreadnought. It had no markings, no heat, no signature, but it had teeth rows of hidden weapons folded inside its body. None active. All waiting. The Yentha ship tried to move. It's COULDN single quotes T. Every system went dark. Single message appeared on their screen. You never asked who stayed behind. On the surface of Mars, more holes opened. Smooth, perfect circles, revealing metal below. Platforms rose slowly. Turrets, walkways, drone ports. One by one, lights came on underground. Blue, then red, and something began crawling up from the shadows. Machines. Tall, black and insect-like, they climbed up the platforms and spread across the surface. They did not look like human tech, but they were old human war machines, left behind after the Earth-Mars war, disassembled, buried, forgotten, but not destroyed. Now they had returned. Dralvik and his crew ran toward the ridge. From there, they saw it all. Hundreds of machines, thousands, walking in lines, crawling, rolling, flying, all heading toward the old ruins of the Mars. Capital Olympus Site 0. Drolvek whispered. They were never gone. Above Mars, the dreadnought shifted. It sent no signal, no sound. Only its presence told the truth. Mars belonged to Earth again. The Yentha ship tried one last escape. It failed. Not because it was shot, but because it was deleted. The ship's code vanished. The engines forgot how to run. The I forgot who was. Within seconds, the vessel collapsed on itself, falling into the Martian sky like a silent rock. On Earth, General Reyes watched the report. He stood in front of a wall-sized screen in an underground war room. His officers waited. Is it done? He asked. The AI replied, Yes, sir. Mars is secure. No survivors. Orbital control re-established. Drone factories now operating at 70%. Reyes gave a slow nod. Good. Activate the Ghost Fleet. His officers froze. One of them spoke carefully. Sir, are you sure? That's irreversible. Reyes turned to him. They laughed. They invaded. They watched Earth suffer for 100 years. He stepped closer to the table. We warned them. He pressed his hand on the console. Now we remind them. Far out in deep space, past the asteroid belt, dozens of ships woke from sleep. They were ancient. They had no crew. They had no sound. They were called the Ghost Fleet. Human ships with full AI minds, banned by treaties, locked away for fear of losing. Control, now unlocked. They moved through space like shadows. No lights, no trail, no signal, and they had one target. Memory, suppression. Their job was not to kill. Their job was to make people forget. They moved toward the Zarkith trade routes. One ship appeared near a cargo convoy. The convoy stopped. One moment it existed. The next it DIDN single quotes T. No wreckage. No fire. No distress call. Only emptiness. And in the records of every connected system, the convoy's ID was erased. As if it had never been born. Back on Mars, deep beneath Olympus Mons, something even more powerful stirred. A vault opened. Inside was a man, frozen in stasis, kept alive by machines that had outlived their creators. He opened his eyes. "Time to go?" he asked. The AI responded. "Yes, Commander Ashen. Earth calls you back." He stepped out of the chamber, breathing in dry Martian air. His eyes turned toward the surface above. "Then let's take the sky." In orbit, the human dreadnought turned toward Earth. 12 more ships uncloaked, forming a spearhead. Each ship was bigger than anything the aliens had built, but none of them had names. They didn't need them. They were Earth's answer. Earth was no longer asking questions. It was writing the final chapter. The galaxy still didn't understand. They still thought Earth was scared. That Earth had hidden in shame. They were wrong. Earth had hidden in preparation. Now, Mars was back under human control. The solar system was closing its gates, and anyone still inside was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. The alien fleet drifted confidently into Earth's orbit. From their command decks, high above the blue and green planet, they laughed. Earth was still quiet, still broken, still beneath them. Admiral Varkish of the Varn Dominion leaned forward in his throne-like seat. His warships, over 50 in number, formed a ring around Earth. It was not just a siege. It was a message. Earth would surrender or be erased, but Earth didn't respond. Not with fear, not with words. Not with peace. Instead, they simply waited. Hours passed. Then, a quiet signal left Earth's surface. Just a pulse, one blink into space. The alien fleet detected it. Small, weak. They ignored it. Big mistake. 20 minutes later, the first Varn ship exploded. Not from a missile, not from a laser. From inside. Admiral Varkish stood up, stunned. "Internal breach?" he shouted. "How?" No answer came. Then the second ship erupted in flames. Then the third. Panic spread through the command channels. Crews screamed. Systems failed. Ships died without warning. Something was already aboard them. One Varn officer shouted, "We're not alone. They're on our ships. They're already here." The admiral froze. He looked back toward Earth. And understood. This wasn't a siege. It was a trap. 1 week before the invasion, deep inside Earth's hidden military base under Greenland's ice, Colonel Dana Sykes stood beside a large screen, showing the Varn fleet's projected path. "They're going to block our skies," she said quietly. "Just like they did to the Grauan people." General Ortega crossed his arms. "Then we let them come. We let them surround us." "And then?" Dana asked. The general smiled. "Then we spring the cage." Operation Ghost Orbit had been in the works for 3 years. Humanity knew this day would come, the day the galaxy would try to step on Earth. So they prepared not with shields or planetary weapons. They prepared with infiltration. Hundreds of small, invisible crafts no larger than escape pods had already been launched into space, silent, drifting, coated in stealth, alloys no alien sensor could track. Each one carried 6 humans. And each one had a mission: board, disable, destroy. The humans called them Orbit Wolves. On Varn ship number 17, a soldier crawled through a narrow maintenance duct. His name was Jason Cole, former U.S. Navy SEAL, now just a ghost in the machine. He tapped his wrist display. Ghost Team 7, reactor room ahead, no resistance. Behind him, his 5 teammates followed silently. The ship around them was huge. Cold alien, but they had studied it for years. The designs, the routines, the crew schedules. They knew it better than the Varn themselves, Dot. As they reached the reactor, Jason planted a charge. Countdown started, he whispered. 3 minutes. Move. Another explosion rocked the fleet. Admiral Varkish screamed orders. Find the infiltrators. Shut everything down. Where are they hiding? But it was too late. From Earth's ground control, General Ortega watched. The live feed. The sky above Earth was filled with fire. But it wasn't Earth burning, Dot. It was the enemy. Their great ships, their unbreakable formation. It was breaking apart, one by one. From the inside, a young officer whispered, "We didn't even fire from the surface." "No," Ortega said with pride. "We never had to." Varn Captain Telrox stood frozen as his ship's control systems went dark. He pulled out his plasma pistol. The lights flickered. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Not loud. Not rushed. Calm. Steady. Human. He aimed toward the noise, hands shaking. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. Black armor. Human eyes. A small smile. Then a flash and darkness. Only 8 of the 52 Varn ships escaped the orbit. They limped away. Engines broken. Systems ruined. What was left of their fleet now carried the story of what had happened, that Earth had not defended itself. It had hunted them. Back on Earth, Jason Cole stood on a mountain ridge in Montana. He watched the sunrise. His mission was done. But this was only the beginning. Now, the galaxy knew. If you come for Earth, don't expect a war. Expect an ambush. A cold wind moved across the prison moon of Rektharis. No birds, no sky, only gray metal towers, walls made from asteroid rock, and long corridors filled with silence. This was not a place where people shouted. This was not a place where hope lived. This was where the galaxy sent the unbreakable humans. 30-8 Earth prisoners had been held here for 10 years. Sent one by one after battles, arrests, betrayals. Each time, the Empire said the same thing. We don't need to kill humans. Just lock them away. Forever. And so, they did. Deep underground, Cell Block 9A hummed with quiet energy. Most of the lights flickered. The Empire never bothered fixing them. They thought the humans were done. But they were wrong. Inside Cell 17, Captain Aria Vale sat on her cot, staring at the wall. Her fingers tapped a slow beat on her leg. Tap, tap. It was a song from Earth. A signal. In Cell 18. Her friend Liam heard it and answered with his own tap. Then another tap came from Cell 20, then 22, then 25. The song was spreading. They had waited for 10 years. Waited and listened. The guards didn't understand the rhythm. To them, it was just madness. But the prisoners knew. The beat said, "It's time." No one had escaped from Rektharis in over 70 years. The prison moon was surrounded by a minefield. The security system was tied to heartbeat scanners. The guards were genetically enhanced species, bred only for brutality. But humans weren't planning a fight. They were planning a chain reaction. The first move came with the kitchen shift. A human named Marco, thin and quiet, dropped a spoon into the waste processor. The guards didn't notice. Inside the processor, the spoon jammed the system. It caused a small backup in the waste vents. That triggered a maintenance drone to report a false pressure reading. 2 levels down. The ventilation system began to push recycled air into the wrong rooms. It smelled bad. Very bad. A guard called in a fixed team. That was the second mistake. Because the fixed team didn't notice the vent panel was loose. Because behind that panel was a human hand. And in that hand was the key. The key wasn't metal. It wasn't stolen. It was made from bone. Captain Aria had carved it slowly, over 6 years, from a rib she broke in a fight. She shaped it using her teeth, smoothed it on stone, hid it in her boot. Now, she held it in silence. One twist. One click. Her cell door opened. Just a crack. She waited. Outside, she heard the guards walking. 2 heavy steps. Then the sound of them laughing. They always laughed when they passed the human cells. Thought they were above them. This time, Arya smiled too. Behind her, in the other cells, more doors were opening. Slowly, quietly. They had all made keys. All different. From bones, wires, screws hidden in skin. One by one, the humans stepped out into the dark. Not shouting, not rushing. Just moving. Together. A storm, without sound. The guards noticed too late. In hallway 3B, the first scream came fast, and then stopped faster. A human had jumped from above, silent as a ghost. Snapped the guard's neck before he could shout. Then took his weapon. Humans didn't need high-tech guns. They used pipes. Wires. Their hands. They moved like shadows through. The complex. Room by room. No alarms were triggered. Not yet. Because the humans had cut the lines 3 days earlier, using rats they trained and guided through the vents. Yes, trained rats. Earth creatures that lived in the walls for years. The rats knew the paths. And so did the humans. Liam and Arya reached. The control room. It was empty. Cameras showed darkness in every hallway. The guards didn't know where to look. Lock every door except the exit, Arya said. Force them into the tunnels. Liam typed fast. Done. Then he smiled. Guess what? What? The outer beacon just lit up. Earth got our signal. Arya stared at the screen. How long? Maybe hours. Maybe minutes. Depends who's coming. They both knew. In orbit around Rektharis, a civilian-looking cargo ship drifted into view. Its hull was rusted. Its ID tag was fake. But its captain was not. Major Orion Black had never lost a rescue op. And this time, he was bringing company. 2 stealth dropships broke away from the cargo hauler. They made no sound. The Empire's scanners didn't even blink. Inside. The dropships. 12 elite humans. The best of the best. No flags. No warning. They were coming for their own. On the prison moon, alarms finally screamed. The guards were confused. The control room was dark. Doors were jammed. Explosions were going off near the weapons storage. No one knew what was happening. Then, the lights went red. A voice came over the intercom. It was Arya. To the Empire officers listening, you shouldn't have buried us. Then silence again. The prisoners reached the main hangar. One last door stood in their way. On the other side, guards waited with heavy weapons. Arya stood tall. Time to finish it. She raised her hand, and the wall exploded. From the smoke, Orions. Team walked in. Humans. Free humans. They fired with precision. Not to kill, but to move forward. To cover the prisoners. To give them space. Liam pulled the hangar door open. Wind howled. The escape ship hovered just beyond. The humans ran. 40 of them now. Old prisoners, new soldiers. Together. As they boarded, Arya turned back. She looked at the flag the guards had nailed above the door. The Empire's crest. She spit at it. Then climbed aboard. Orion raised a hand. Everyone's in? A voice from the rear answered. All present. Then burn this rock. From space, the prison moon looked, untouched. Until the inside blew outward. Not from weapons. But from hope. The kind that spread. Slowly. The kind that waited in silence. The kind that couldn't be chained. As they left orbit, a final message went out across the stars. Sent by Liam. Open frequency. Uncoded. Earth's prisoners are no longer your trophies. You made cages and thought we'd forget who we are. But humans don't forget. We don't kneel. And we don't stay buried. The transmission ended. And, for the first time in years, the galaxy went quiet, because a laugh echoed across the stars again, the kind of laugh that came after 10 years of silence. A human laugh. The alien commander's hands shook. He stood at the edge of the control deck, staring at the screen. Every sensor, every warning, every alert, all of them screamed the same message. Human ships inbound. But this time, it wasn't a small fleet. It wasn't a scouting force. It wasn't retaliation. This was an answer high above the skies of Relec Prime, the most fortified world of the Grax Dominion. Space had begun to tear open, not from weapons, not from gravitational collapse, but from something far worse, a rift formed by human FTL cannons. No one had ever dared use such unstable jump technology near a planet. No one except the species the galaxy once called a joke. Now, the joke was over. Commander Vezkar forced his voice to stay calm. Activate planetary shields. Scramble all orbital defense wings. Bring the moon railgun array online. Now. But deep down, he knew it was too late. They had laughed at Earth, mocked its outdated tech, ridiculed its slow rise. But ever since the humans destroyed the Varn Nexus at Cradle 9, fear had begun spreading in the dark corners of the galaxy. And now, fear stood at their doorstep. One of his aides, a younger officer with shaking tentacles, whispered, "Why didn't we stop when we had the chance?" There was no answer, because the answer was already coming at faster-than-light speed. High, in orbit, a massive ship emerged from the rift. It was black as space itself, shaped like a blade forged by ancient gods. The hull was covered in human symbols, glowing red from within, and one large phrase written in English across the front: Judgment Fleet 01, for every planet you burned. The first human warship didn't even slow down. It fired one long beam of focused antimatter sliced through 3 Grax destroyers in a single shot. Planetary shields lit up, absorbing the energy, but only barely. The second shot came faster, stronger, then a third. Then came the full barrage. The human fleet poured out of the rift like a storm, hundreds of them. Each one designed not just to kill, but to erase. Every species watching the live stream across. The galactic net froze. Even the warlike Treek tribes whispered to each other, "What have the humans become?" The answer was simple. They had become the thing the galaxy feared most. Down on the surface of Relec Prime, the sky glowed red as orbital fire rained down. A child pointed upward. "Mother, what's happening?" The mother pulled her closer. That is what happens when you push too far. In the Capitol Palace, the Emperor of the Grax Dominion, the one who once stood on a stage and called Earth a primitive dirtball, was nowhere to be seen. His guards had abandoned him. His war council had fled underground, because when the first wave of human Marines landed, their mechs didn't ask for surrender. They simply walked through fire. Each mech was piloted by someone who had lost something. A colony, a family, a friend. Humanity had not forgotten what the Dominion did to Mars, to Europa. To Titan. They had buried that pain, forged it into armor. And now they brought it back, one crushed enemy at a time. Inside one mech, Lieutenant Juno Alares stared at the carnage around her. Team Alpha, breach Sector C, no survivors. "Copy," came the reply. She stepped forward. Her boots sank into the soft ash of alien buildings, still burning. The screams of the Grax defenders echoed, but no mercy came. The humans didn't stop until every resistance signal faded. They moved like shadows. They struck like gods. The Galactic Council tried to contact Earth. They sent peace offers, emergency negotiations, pleas for diplomacy. No reply came, because this was not a war. This was the echo of a laugh that Once mocked Earth, now answered by thunder. One alien senator whispered to himself as he watched the chaos on screen. We should have listened. We should have never laughed. It was too late. Because when humans understand pain, they survive. When they understand war, they evolve. But when they understand fear, they become unstoppable. And now, the galaxy understood. That far too well. Silence. That was all that remained in the galaxy. No council messages, no cries for help, no warnings. Just silence. Until a faint, broken signal echoed through the deep black space. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a threat. It was something worse. It was laughter. A human voice laughing. Calm, cold, unshaken. The signal bounced from one ruined relay station to another, passing through what remained of once mighty empires. Across shattered planets, broken fleets, and burned cities. It didn't carry a fleet. It carried a message. You should have taken us seriously. 3 weeks earlier, the great united forces and alliance of 15 alien civilizations gathered. Their strongest weapons. Their final strike. They had pushed too far. The humans had destroyed the Grax Dominion, crushed the Zervan Armada, burned the Myeth worlds. And they did it with fire, metal, and fury. The rest of the galaxy was terrified. So they chose one last option. Wipe Earth from existence. 15 races, 2,300 ships, and 5 planet-killer weapons. Gathered in the Sol System. All aimed at Earth. Their fleet blotted out the stars. In the command chair of the lead vessel. Supreme General Valzor of the Trelzan Confederacy gave the final command. Erase them. Thousands of weapons fired. Light itself bent. Space shook. And Earth disappeared in fire that the Galactic Council celebrated. They had won. Or so they thought. Until the sky split open 2 days later. From deep within the shattered Oort cloud, something moved. Not a ship. A machine, Project Obsidian. Built in secret. Hidden for decades. Its creators had feared the galaxy might one day try to erase them. So humans did what they always do. Prepare for the worst. The machine was not a ship. It was a vengeance. Engine. Buried beneath layers of armor thicker than any. Weapon could pierce, powered by black hole reactors, and loaded with the deadliest AI minds humanity had ever made. Obsidian was the last scream of a species pushed too far. And it awoke. It didn't ask who attacked. It didn't ask why. It only followed one order. Eliminate all threats to human survival. The nearest enemy fleet didn't even have time to react. Obsidian's weapons tore through them like paper. No missile trails, no lasers. Just pure. Gravitational collapse bombs, turning ships into floating dust. Thousands died in seconds. The Council tried to respond. They sent reinforcements, war plans, AI countermeasures. But Obsidian had already evolved beyond anything they understood. It hacked their comms. Turned their weapons against them, used their own soldiers as beacons to guide its next strike, and still it laughed, not the machine itself, but the same recorded voice laughing, again and again, a calm human voice that echoed in every destroyed ship. We warned you. One by one, the great capitals of the galaxy fell. First Trelvok, then the twin moons of Zithra, then Yelmer's Sky Palace, once thought impossible to reach. Obsidian never stopped, never slept, never showed mercy. Every race that had laughed at Earth now prayed for survival, but there were no prayers left, not after what they did to Earth. On the burned world of Kelax 3, a single Grax child looked to the sky. Ash rained down. Fire still burned from where human drop pods had landed earlier. The child turned to his elder and asked, "Why did they come? What do they want?" The old alien looked up at the burning sky. "They don't want anything now. Then, why do they keep coming? Because we didn't listen. Back in what remained of the council, survivors gathered for one last message, a desperate plea. They broadcasted on all known frequencies. To the humans, we surrender. We beg forgiveness. We were wrong. There was no answer. For a long time, the galaxy thought perhaps humanity had ended the war, that their wrath had cooled. But then, on a cold, drifting asteroid near the galactic edge, a transmitter powered on. No warning, no encryption, no threats, just that same voice. Laughing. Then came words. Slow, final, unstoppable. We're not done. And with that, 5 more rifts opened across the galaxy. New fleets emerged, bigger, faster, built not on anger, but precision. Not on rage, but resolve. They weren't here to conquer. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to finish what was started. And across every star system, across every broken empire, across the ruins of civilizations that once called humans weak, one truth remained. The last thing anyone heard before silence was human laughter.